A beautiful afternoon to you. Many thanks for joining me on Flipside, and I'm your regular host, Olui J. Uikohai. Today on Flipside, we'll be looking at failed marriages, rise and scourge. We know, like a month ago, we have been hearing news of persons leaving their marriage, getting divorced, and so many things as far as relationship is concerned. So today we'll be, educating everyone out there and also enlightening us to know what is really the cause of our marriages out there failing. Now, to do that, we have the person of Pastor Destiny Agedosa. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And we also have Mama in the house, Mrs. Grace Obakina. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank
nice
you for having me.
All right, quickly now, let's ask Mrs. Grace Obakina, what is marriage?
Okay, I will, in the best explanation to the layman, say that marriage is a coming together of two persons who agrees to be under the same roof and to pilot their life for the rest days of their life together as husband and wife. The two key things there is the agreements and the coming together and the ability to agree to stay with each other, to tolerate each other, to forbear each other. Naturally, marriage is not something you know what it is that you're going into. But these two minds, they see themselves, they like what they see at that point in time. They try to want to understand who they are, and they promise to say, let's make this work. And so they sign into that agreement. Some call it love, some call it family ties, some call it even family rewards. But the truth of the matter is, whether from the immediate persons, which is the husband and the wife, or the parents that brings them together, there is an agreement. There is an agreement. That's marriage.
Okay. To Pastor Destiny now, in your own way, what do you think marriage is?
Well, marriage is a union between two persons coming together, male and female, agreeing to be together, and the biblical way forever and ever. Nice.
All right. So, Mrs. Grace Obakina, you talked about working together. Yes, because I had to atomize it, coming together and making it work. Now, when they decide to come together, in between the marriage circle, what makes them to say, okay, I cannot come together, as the Bible will say, two shall become one. Yeah. Now, I want to go back to being one. So what causes this disparity?
That suddenly
the sudden change
I am
of
no
mind,
longer ready
I'm no longer
to work.
interested, and all of it.
Okay, there are so many outlined reasons why marriage is failed.
Yeah.
And in 2015, we did a little research because when I'm always up air, like talk about separation when we're in the midst of counselors, the religious bodies, and they say, why? So we choose to really know why this whole thing is happening. It might sound strange, it might sound funny, but the truth of the matter, at the end of that result, we have over 100% clicking on the topmost reasons why we have failed marriages as communication. Communication either pre, during, or after. Because a little thing that you undermine, a little thing that you overlook, a little thing that you fail to pay attention to, a little thing that you said, oh, this may not matter, let's just walk past it, may all of a sudden. I always tell people there is a very thin line between love and hate. It's so thin and so narrow that the switch can be so prompt, and you start asking yourself, where is all the sweetness? Where is all the sweetness? Where is all the attention? Where is all the like,
The
if I
names
don't
calling.
see you, I would die.
Yeah.
Where is all the, I want to spend the whole of my time with you. Oh, work time,
Honey,
let's lunch
baby.
together. All the names, in fact, the names that are coming up recently are so magnifying that you will like, oh, this person's word is all wrapped around the other. But the truth of the matter is communication comes topmost in every of the causes of failed marriages.
Yeah.
Because a lot of persons, you may say, fine, I don't want to talk about my past relationships, but you have one or two things that made those relationships fade that brought you to where you are now. You don't have to keep it off. If I am the type that is easily angered, and you think you don't want to talk about it before you get into marriage, immediately you get into marriage, it's going to happen. And it will look strange because, of course, during courtship, it's all sweet, sweet, sweet. Most times I tell people, if your courtship is all sweet, 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 please pinch yourself. Consciously make this person angry, not because as a human being is not going to get angry, but you want to see the extent with which this person will go when he's angry. Then you begin to learn some very, very vital points. Then if it is the other person, these are the things that get me angry, but because you're so in love, you think you don't want to talk about it. Very sooner or later, you can no longer bear it. Courtship could be 1 year, 2 years. It's have a timeline. But marriage does not have a timeline. And in a very short while, you no longer be able to swallow all of those excesses that you saw and you wanted to ignore. Then now that you are now preparing for marriage, listeners at home, the truth of the matter is, when you see things you generally will not take when you are in, don't pretend, even if it is at the verge of about to. Yeah. It is better you are doing a breakup at and about to be married than when you're married. Now you see, we all have different family backgrounds. Yeah. We all have different environments where we grew up. You know, and you're seeing these things, there are things that are neck stretching and throat cutting. And just because you think you can, sometimes you can even put the marriage on a pause, put it on a hold, then do more. Maybe you did not investigate to that extent. It could be the way family take issues, and it looks all strange to you. The minute you have a grip of fear in you over something, that thing is worth paying attention to. Then, when you are satisfied, oh, it's not this way, it's this way, maybe I misunderstood it, then you can go ahead. Then when you are in the marriage, every little thing counts. Talk about it. He goes out, he did not call you, and you enjoy when he calls you. Because when he comes back home, don't say, okay, we are not married. Talk about it. Honey, I used to like the way you call me. It gives me ghost pimples, and that, I think, is going to make us walk longer. Please don't stop calling me. Ah, no, nah, we are not together. It may not matter to you, but it matters to me. Then, wherever he is, he will have the consciousness that I have not spoken to either my wife or my husband. Then, secondly, maybe you are the woman that grew up in a place where, no, let me swap it this time. Maybe you are the man that grew up in a place where things are arranged like this and not like this. And the woman is just this very carefree type, not because she's lazy, but because of her upbringing. You saw all of that before you got married. So I always tell people, know the category your partner falls into before you get married. When you're married to a business class person, you know there are a lot of things you're going to enjoy or suffer. So it is when you get married to this kind of person, you're going to be swallowing it, or you're going to be talking about it, teaching her in the most simplest way where he or she would understand. We're still on communication, because it's like the bedrock. Once you miss it, you're going to miss every other stage. Because heart, once you start forbearing, you don't talk about it, it starts having deeper roots. Yeah. And before you know what's happening, you say, oh, I can no longer swallow this. But if you had talked about it, she would have known she didn't like this. Or better still, she could ask, honey, please, can you just help me do this? It sounds weird. But instead of you coming to meet that thing and it gets you angry, there is already a spoken word. You say, okay, darling, we're going to do this together. Stand up, stand up. You know, it could just be in a form of joke. You have passed your message. she has also passed her message. Then there's one beautiful aspect that a lot of us seems to sweep under the carpet. When you start enjoying, when you suddenly stop enjoying your partner's company, something had gone wrong. Talk about it. You no longer make me smile, or your smile no longer works the magic it does when I am angry. Your smile no longer does the magic where no matter how tense I am, immediately I see your smile, it gets me lifted. What has gone wrong? Are you keeping things? Are you now prioritizing your friendship with maybe your family members or with your friends? You see a particular friend you don't like in your partner, there are manners with which you present it. And before it's happening, she sees reasons why you don't like that person. Not coming to dish out instruction to your partner like it were your child that you had when you were growing up. Most failed marriages had also been because of that. You don't dish out instruction to your partner. You dialogue over it. You seek opinion. Then you come to an agreement. That way nobody goes home hot. A reasonable person will see reasons why this has to be looked into. I've got some friends I've had to trim off in the course of being married. And I've got some I said, I'll say, babe, this person is not just what we should worry about. It's about work, and the kind of work I do allows me or permits me or would want me have this kind of person in my chain. So please, then always carry these persons along. Then let me talk about financial infidelity. Yes, you had started and you know this person is financially endowed. You know all of this before now. And you did not discuss about how you want your financial life to go. And you think, after all, he understands my money is my money, his money is his money. And that's why you always have so many problems. You talk about everything. Talk about it. Yes, the person may not agree, but there is already a hint to your mind that this is what this person feels about this thing. How am I going to do about it? That is where there's room for counseling. Then you give your heart to wanting to shift grounds. So I don't know, I could just stop here so that we'll have a flowing time.
All right, nice one, letting us know that communication is the bedrock of every relationship. You start up, like what you said earlier, I remember some persons, they'll be like, oh, he hasn't called me today. I'm wondering, what's the problem? Then we were dating. He used to call me like 5.
If he wakes up in the morning, he calls you to say, babe, I'm awake.
The first person he calls is, I'm the one he calls first and says, oh, babe, how was your night? Or sometimes they go at another length to say, okay, let's pray together. Oh,
I'm telling you.
You're somewhere else. The person is in another place,
and you
find them praying together and doing things together. Now, aside that, when they are married, now you call for prayers. He's nowhere to be found.
I'm sleeping.
He also tells you, okay, I'm very busy. I'm sleeping. Or in fact, I'm so tired.
Pray for us.
Pray for us. I prayed yesterday. So you do the prayers today. And the communication part also.
It's diminishing.
It's reducing, diminishing to a level that you don't even understand. But you have said the bedrock is communication. Now to Pastor D. What do you think to your own aspect as a pastor? Yes. What do you think is the reason for failed marriages?
Well, I will come in this angle. By the grace of God, as a pastor, I do a lot of counseling towards this angle, majorly. I have come to conclude on this, that the major thing that I see why these marriages are departing, failing, and all those things, majorly is trust. When the trust is broken, you know, I used to know my husband like this. I used to know my wife like this. But she's no more the way I used to know her. Something is wrong. Something has, you know, changed. There's something that makes it to change.
Yeah.
You understand? Two things that I've discovered: when trust is broken, love goes down. And the whole thing will start changing, you know, the way it's supposed to be. I have known that trust is something that if both of you could handle it well, it will bring you both to the conclusion of life. Trust does not, dictate the kind of person you are, but it gives you chance to live the kind of person you should live. When the trust is there, marriages is being managed in the way that both of you can enjoy it. But when the trust is out of marriage, it gives room to the wrong that has been covered by love before. Trust is the bedrock of love. Okay. Now, a lot of people have lost their trust in marriage. They have lost the trust to their husband and the trust to their wife. Maybe because of a little thing that just happened. When lies come, it breaks the power of trust. Just, where are you, my darling? He said, I'm in my father's house. Well, meanwhile, he just left there. But I just came to your father's house. I'm not, he can no more trust that woman, no, trust that man. Because he has found that there is a lie that has come. It breaks the trust. And before you regain it, it takes time. A lot of people, when they lost the trust in their marriage, they cease to not understanding the marriage again. They will start behaving anyhow, like the one that we just talked about. My friend just talked about. Trust was what was just, it came up in a little way, but today you have escalated to the place that this one is talking about divorce, this one is now agreeing to it and all these things. But when that trust was being kept, something like that was not there. Even when the family was trying to come in, nobody gives chance because there is trust. I trust my wife. You don't need to talk about my wife like this. In fact, you don't even give ear to it. But when the trust is no more there, you give ear to side talks. Mm-hmm. And it comes in, it lures into your marriage. Before you know, it separates your marriage. Trust is one of the greatest things that people have lost, or a lot of people have lost, that breaks into breakable marriage and all those ones.
Okay. Ms. Obat, or let's start like this now. How long should a courtship last?
Well,
in order for you to say, okay, I know this person so well, and we can now go into marriage and, start procreation and everything.
Personally, I don't prescribe to prolonged courtship. Okay. Maybe because my school of thought, I have this strong belief in the power of communication. Yeah. I person. My courtship was less than 6 months, and I didn't have a pre-knowledge of this person. Came to me, I liked you, I have seen you around, and I think you fit into someone I want to spend the rest of my life with. Give me time to go pray. Depending on your belief, that was my belief. I have always believed if God speaks to you in every other aspect of your life, it's just a free thing when it comes to marriage. It shouldn't be special. It shouldn't be when you want to get married, you start asking God to speak to you when on ordinary issues, you don't seek that preference. So we got married and it was a sit down, let's talk about it. This is who I am. These are the things I may really not shift grounds about. Okay. This is my personality. These are my flaws. I know my flaws. Every normal and sane human being, you know the areas where you have your flaws. True. I listed my flaws. Find these. We'll see how we work about it. So sometimes now that we're married and you want to I say, remember. True. I told you, we talked about this. And that always brings back that sanity. Okay, now for those that are to be married, you should stop deceiving yourself. I want you to be my friend. Let me know you before I marry you. Stop deceiving yourself. You have an ideology you have an idea of what you want your man to be, of what you want your woman to be. And you don't just jump. Okay, let's say, for example, those that meet on weird places, then you can say, okay, let me get to know you. Like I said, I counsel people to consciously step on their partner's toes to see, because the high rate of violence we are having today, most of the signs were actually seen before marriage. But there is this tendency to, I will change him or he will change.
Yeah.
So coming under the list of one of the causes, I was going to be talking about domestic violence and unsatisfied sexual life. But to be able to talk a little on this, let's stop deceiving ourselves. If you spend 3 years, a woman that will pretend.
True.
If you spend 5 years, a man that will pretend, will same pretend. But if you sit down and discuss about what both of you want, you give yourself a set goal. You already have an idea of what you want your marriage to be. I discussed how many children I want to have before I got married in this short period of time. Because this is what I want. It's marriage, and that's what you came for, understandably. Let me pray. And when I was convinced, I called him, let's talk about us. So I always advise people, we've gone beyond the era where you stay for 5 years. If a woman wants to pretend, she will pretend. Because there is this consciousness you put on when your partner to be is by you. But now that you're home, you let all God loose. That is the same way you should be when you're in courtship. Let those guards loose. Let this person see you. There is somebody somewhere that likes you for your madness. It is just that your crazy aspect of life that this man likes.
True.
And when he sees it, he goes ahead to love you. But if you keep it because you want the all-perfect person, he comes in and your marriage becomes a disaster. So for me, I don't prescribe to prolong courtship. Get to know this person, like his personality, discuss what you want. If he agrees, it becomes an unofficial agreement. That's why it may not be documented, but you can always refresh in the person's memory to it. But there is one thing I always tell people: should every other thing not matter, the fear of God matters. From my own belief as a Christian, anybody, any partner can go weird. But if the person has the fear of God, there's always this constraint. So if there's no other quality you look out for, I am not talking about a church goer. I'm talking of people that even if they stray, there is this, oh no, I can't go beyond this. I know when grace expires. I know when mercy is overstretched. Let me come back to God. So when this person is God-fearing, I think you're going to have a beautiful ride all the way.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Grace Obakina. To Pastor Destiny, yes. How long do you think a courtship should last? Because you find some person saying, okay, when we are into courtship, I'll be able to know his or her flaws. Definitely, fine, you can know. There are some persons that, when we talk about toothpaste, find some persons, they want to, level up.
Yeah.
It should be this way.
I am that type of
While some others, they don't care where it's coming from. It could be coming from the bottom, or you can actually press from the middle or wherever. But some persons, they just want a perfect synergy. Let it just flow. Let it be neat and all of that. So in between courtship, can you actually know everything about this person? And how long can it last that you will be able to know, oh, this person is like this person is not. Okay, I can actually stay with he or she.
I can tolerate.
The Bible says something. It said the heart of a man is desperately wicked. Who can know this? There is no time you will spend with a man that you can know, if not the grace of God. It is the grace of God that reveals who that man is. As a pastor, I come across some characters like this. A lady came to, or rather a girl came to meet me. Pastor, I want to marry. Please, I want to know who this guy is. I said, wow. Okay, the name was presented. I said, how long have you been together? She told me and this guy have been together for 5 years. Now you want to know. Okay, you have been together for 5 years. Number one, there is already an agreement. You know before an agreement. You don't know after agreement. Now I just told the lady, I said, well, you have known your friend. Why are you asking another? Or you want to put me into tests? I said, no, I cannot answer that because you have been together for 5 years.
5 years.
A child that is giving birth for 5 years is already a student.
Yes.
You know, there is no reason for me to come and tell you who this guy is. Because I cannot be waylaid because you took my wife from me, all those kind of issues. What am I trying to say? If we want to say how long, depends on individual.
Yeah.
There are some persons, not because they have not known themselves, but the thing have lasted till 4 or 5 years because there is no money to be able to put the whole thing together. Everybody has their own reasons. While there are some persons, everything is there. Let us just agree and let's go on. You know, it depends on the individual. I cannot just tell you, for me, I know how many years my own lasts. I know why. I know how my marriage is today. That is how it is. It is an individual issue. Both of you understanding yourself, know why this thing is like this, know why this thing should be like this, and know where you are going to, you are heading to. For you to say, okay, it must be, 6 months, it must be 4 months, must be 8 years, you might not be doing some persons well. Mm-hmm. Every individual know how to counsel them and know what they needed in life. Depends on what you need, determine what to say to you. Likewise me. It is not people, the dates cannot be put. Yeah.
Okay.
That is just it.
All right, if you just joined us, this is Flipside with yours sincerely, Oluije Oikokai, and we're looking at failed marriages, checkmating the surge. We'll be right back. All right, thank you so much for staying right there, waiting for us to be back on Flipside. Like I earlier said, we're talking about failed marriages, the rising surge. Now, before I go to Mrs. Obakina, she is the executive director of Caring Hearts Foundation. Now, Pastor Destiny actually talked about, and I did write it somewhere, yes, you said, first of all, in marriage, there should be trust. Yeah. And trust brings about you being able to manage the marriage. Yeah. Manage the marriage. Are we supposed to manage marriage?
Manage in the sense, be able to cope with all situations. Okay. Marriage is not just the way you started. There is a difference between courtship and marriage. Women, we know how to pamper our wives when we are in courtship. Okay. But when it comes to marriage, it's another ball game. You understand?
Why is it so?
I'm trying to bring it out.
Why can't it be all rosy?
Yes. Because why? Now, then you have not known. You want to know. Okay. This time around, you have already known. You lose on certain things to flow the way it is. But then there is a hold on to some certain things. Maybe
you need to say something about
because the truth is this. I have always advised and encouraged, maybe because of the job I do. Yeah. I have always advised and encouraged. We can't start blaming our parents because then the awareness to the things we know now is not so much. So I do a lot of awareness and sensitization to our new generational mothers that when you're beginning to have offspring, it's good you raise your children to be responsible for everything that comes across their path in life. We should stop raising children with the consciousness of this is a male and this is a female. I want to come back to where my brother was trying to explain. Yeah. When we grow up with this mindset that I am the man, I want to get married to someone that will come and be in my house and make everything work. it necessarily may not be a conscious thought, but that was how, or that is how the generation before our generation, I'm not talking about the millennium children now, that is the method with which we'll grow up, where the women have specified roles and the men. Very few parents then. I happen to come out from one of those few homes where a man cooks. You are on roster. Every chores, week by week, it's on roster.
Okay, sorry. When we say a man cooks, is it the married man or the...
No, I mean in the home front.
Folks, okay.
In the home front, when parents...
Either a boy or a girl.
Yeah,
okay.
When you're raising your children, let everyone take responsibility of the choices at home. Okay. So when you grow up and go to work, and your wife goes to work, both of you comes back, she is working, cooking. Don't see it like it's her duty, do it all. See it like I am genuinely tired, understandably. Yeah. I am back from work, she's also genuinely tired. Now she's cooking. Then you're helping with the children. Not because you are told, but because you grew up with that mentality. Yeah. Sometimes it could be joke, it could be expression of love, and it could also be a lesson for experience. Sometimes it will not be out of place to say, I want to be in her shoe for the next 1 week. When you see how sweet it is to put children in check, then whenever you see her doing anything she's doing, you will appreciate. Sometimes also have this empathy of conception, what it is to nurse a child. So that when your wife starts going out of shape, because whether you like it or not, most of the reasons why we have failed marriages today is because the man no longer finds attraction. Because this woman had gone through conception, she has shed and lost weight. Imagine if you were in her shoes. Will she turn her back on you? Now coming back to, because children have started coming in, attention has been taken. Now, if we have this mindset, I have a friend, the minute they have their child, they have children's room. Okay. She goes to attend to the children and comes back to the husband.
And attend to him.
He says, you see, this breast is first mine before you came. I borrow you for 1 to 2 years. Don't claim landlordship. Because they have this mindset of what marriage should be. Yeah. The coming in of children should not make the attention you pay to your husband or to your wife. Now, when these children comes, you should also know that psychologically, this woman needs extra support. Yeah. So when you must say, because we are married, this doesn't matter. Wait till you have a feel out. Then you will know why it matters to keep your fire burning. Let me come down a little on sexuality here, because these are things that are real. Even to the Christendom, it's breaking homes of even pastors. Yes, you become so dedicated in the church. You go on 40 days prayer and fasting to help the members. But someone somewhere is suffering the passion, the cuddling, the attention, the love, the sexual satisfaction. Excuse me, pray that devil does not give her a one test out. Things will never remain the same. And if it is not the type that devil has ruled out to finish, it takes God's grace for that home to come back to where it is. Then secondly, you are praying, you did not even discuss with her. She doesn't like 1 or 2 persons' appearance during counseling. And you say, please, don't let the devil use you. Excuse me, the devil is not using her. But we are awakening your consciousness. Because you don't know who is on assignment. That is not to say there are not some women or some men that overstretch things. Then let me come to the area of preferring or comparing people to your partner. It sounds so literal, but it is a killer. Excuse me.
Sorry.
It's a killer. You come home all the time. You never see your partner having any good thing. Everything he or she does, you are comparing. You are gradually demoralizing that person psychologically. And if the person goes down, that you become, you start having this resentment towards you. So everything you do, you struggle to get this person's attention back. The area of physical and domestic violence cannot be on the mind. I know some men of God that even in the morning before going to church, you know the reason why I am using the word men of God? So that you will know that all humans are humans when it comes to understanding what marriage is. Sexuality is not spirituality at all. You need your physical mind into it. And so your mind has to be back home. Because of unmanaged hunger, because of issues you did not discuss, misconception and presumption sets in. I'm saying what's happening. You want to impose your idea, you want to impose your decision, and when there is no cutting line, you discover that you start exchanging blows. It is not the devil. You missed something that is so tiny. So let's begin to sit down and ask ourselves, what is that thing I was doing before that I no longer do that gets you angry and you want me to change? Even if you are married as a virgin, we've got good, healthy sex educators that I am not talking about pornography, that can help you enhance your sexual life. These persons may not practicalize it, but they hear people talk. And they want to once in a while have a change from the father-mother style. Don't say you have gotten spoils. Who is teaching you? Answer her bidding. Because if she had this yearning or he has this yearning, curiosity that says, kills the cat. We want to know. So don't go all spiritual about sexual issue, please. Because the minute you do, a lot of things will go bad. And like I always say, when we're growing up, then our parents will always tell us, keep on to your virginity, because the minute you have one, you will want to not to ever want to stop it. So it is in marriage. Then I want to talk a little on responsibilities. Because this is the area where we don't want to look into, and we keep having family or marital pressures on either partners. I am not going to be holding on to women, even though in the statistics they are most vulnerable. Because from my work, I happen to see men that are also being violated. Yeah. But we have the buck on women. Please, it doesn't make you a boss when you're killing your wife with work at home. Every beautiful woman is the pride of the husband out there. Yeah. When you're working with your children and they look at you and say, is that your younger sister? Please, that is a good kudos to you. When your wife is upright with you, it is your prestige. So by the time her waist, her joints, her bones are broken in the labor room for pushing, don't add the home pressure. Because she just sits and say, God, why is it so unfair on womanhood? And once a woman starts sitting, he starts feeling, why is it? He will just sit down. God himself will not be happy with you. With common sense, you know the areas with which you can come in and be of assistance. In the first place, according to the Bible, she is actually helping you. You are the primary owner of those responsibilities. Appreciate that fact about life. And when you give that support, you will discover that she will always be loyal to you. Love is something that when given to a woman, she uses her life to reciprocate it. She does it through submission. She does it through respect. She does it through financial support. She does it through sexual activeness. If a woman is broken and worn out, some can even slap you at night. Don't blame them, because she said it as you're being selfish. I have done all things, and at night again you're still coming. I always tell people, if you want a healthy sexual night, you start your work from money. Make sure she smiles all day. Guess what? You will not even need to ask. So please, the failed marriages we are having today are little things that we think don't matter, but they matter a lot.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Obakina.
Yeah.
Pastor D, now she talked about helpmates. Now, according to the Bible, says the wife is the helpmate.
Yeah.
Please, can you expatiate on that?
Okay, first I will say, a man that could not pastor his wife is not worthy to be a pastor. The home is the first church that every pastor has. If we are talking about the helpmates, we are talking about an assistant to your major work. It comes, she came to assist you in your own work. Then, if she's assisting you, you should not shift all the work to her. Then, helpmates, the Bible gave the husband his responsibility and the wife her responsibility. Now, the wife is the helpmate, while the husband should love. The love should be returned back by the husband. Then the helpmate, we are talking about the helpmate here, which is the wife. In other words, today, as she has earlier said, a lot of men carve out their domestic work that is for the woman. A common language that men say, the kitchen, the kitchen and woman work. The truth is this, it's not really like that. That is where the understanding and the trust comes from. If you did not understand, yes, a woman can really do more of it. There is an understanding that, yes, I am doing it because
I'm more skilled.
You understand? I should do it because I'm more skilled about that. But when it's not like a mandate, an authority over her for it, it's wrong. You did not marry your wife to be a slave. You marry your wife to be your love. And one's love should not be, destroyed or should not be wasted as a slave. Helpmate is somebody that gives a helping hand to someone. She's giving you a helping hand, does not make her, a slave in the house or in your home. You make her to feel alive. And I want to make another point. Sometimes some men take decision on their own.
It's wrong.
Just like I have said it.
Yeah, it's final.
It's final. It ends there. I don't want to hear what you are saying. No, that is wrong. Those are the kind of authority our father display. But this time around, your wife is your partner. She has a role to play. There is something that happened by the grace of God as a pastor. I do counseling. My wife was around because my wife she's a government worker. She was around one day when I was, counseling someone, and my wife was by my side, and I did. When we got home, he told me, he said, we call ourselves pet name Angel. He said, Angel, what you tell this lady is right, but you could have said it like this. Okay. I saw reason with her. So when the lady came again, I told her, I said, look at what my wife said. He said, sir, he said, you know what? This is what I thought about. She guided me in that aspect, and really is helping me. Sometimes I go home and say, look at the kind of situation I met with, we deliberate on it. I goes back bringing a perfect answer, and be praised. No, the agent at my back is keeping me going. If she was not there, how could I be able to handle those lapses that I have? She's the helpmate to cover up my lapses. That is why she's there. She's not the one that will carry the mission I'm the one that will carry the mission, but she picks the one that is falling off because the load is too heavy for me. Okay. That is it.
All right, we know the usual saying, behind a successful man there is what?
Yeah, great woman.
There's a great
woman.
There's always a woman. Okay, now we'll find some persons, women, they will dress out, or they want to go for a function. Now they are dressed, and the husband will be like, "Who are you dressing for? Why are you dressing like this?" And the woman is looking so good, so perfect and everything. And he will be like, so some men out there will be looking at you. But that aside, looking at domestic violence,
yeah.
This is Grace Abakina, and domestic violence, is it part of, failed marriages?
Yeah, I would say the recent trend that's been happening, that domestic violence, it's up to 80% of the failed marriages. Yeah. And let's not deceive ourselves. It's not until you physically punch or lift up a stick to hit that you have violated your partner. It starts from the first comment my brother made. When you suddenly don't allow her suggestion, her opinion counts, you are emotionally depriving her. You're already violating this woman. You make her feel like she's a piece of furniture whose words doesn't count. Just be there. After all, what you came here to do, take care of my home, take care of my children. That's the common slang that is being used. Like, there is this flower vase you just bought, and every day you come, oh, today you look beautiful, tomorrow you don't look beautiful. When you start violating her emotionally, you start bringing her into what we call psychological trauma. She starts feeling less of a human. You degrade and deprive her self-esteem. Maybe you met her as a student and she's always told you she wants to work, and suddenly you told her, don't work, like all the finesse her parents put into her education became a waste. You have deepened, you have dropped that person. And she begins to feel wasted. I know in this era, most men no longer want liability. But some men just get so scared and worried that yes, you are doing, for somebody maybe you're best at this, they say go and sell tomatoes just because I want you to be engaged. She's not going to find fulfillment in that business. You didn't seek her opinion. Now you're emotionally violating this woman. Then, or this partner. Then there's what we call financial violation. You know there are things this person naturally or necessarily needs this fund for, and he does not have it. And these things are of their need. I will give you a very good example. You are the breadwinner. When you want to send things to your family, you don't seek her opinion. You don't care the cost. You do everything. Yeah. But when she or he needs 50,000 to do something for his family, because you are the one bringing the money, you say, no, they should manage 10, no, they should manage 10. And there is actually a dire need for her to have this satisfaction as fulfilling her right to her parents for that 50,000. And you have it. You say, please, 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 because they are not your own parents, you denied her. Now she has these bruises on her ego because, oh, how I wish I was working. I wouldn't have depended on him. Now you have been able to grind that woman financially to be your slave. Now once she begins to get depressed, she starts agitating or feeling angry. Then she uses foul words of the mouth. Before you know what is happening, you start punching. Trust me, such homes, they are failing every day. And it takes the grace of God. And that's why we tell a lot of our would-be bride and groom, please discuss on what you want and how you want your homes to be.
Okay, now quickly, when in courtship, when you your partner abuses you, like maybe true or just give you a slap on the cheek or something, does that mean that when you are in the marriage, that something can happen?
Okay, like I did mention.
Is that kind of a signal?
It's a signal depending on how it happens. Yeah. Like I said consciously, step on your partner's toe and see how he or she would react.
Okay.
So there are sometimes you're playing, but you know this thing is just not called for, and he goes off the hook, and excuse me, he will blind you when you get into the home.
Okay. All right, so quickly now, your last words, Pastor Listening. We know time is not our friend. So I believe we will have a retake on this issue. Your last words as regards this topic.
Well, the last word, I will just say, let the man and the woman that is coming together be their friends. Okay. Don't see yourselves as a different persons. If I may have a little time, I happen to marry my wife, and she's a talking type. When she comes from work, she wants to tell me everything and want to gist me as an husband. I'm not a talking type. I was raised like a mood, you know, that kind of a sadist on this one. When she's talking, when we married early, when she's talking, I feel, you know, you are disturbing me. Please, you are disturbing me. She was always moody, not really releasing that kind of person that she is. You know, she was not releasing herself, and that thing was bringing, you know, problem to my home. I sat down one day, and she came and met me and said, oh, who do you want me to talk to? If I can